Are you ready?
A Shot of Wrestling, episode 296 live. And away we go.
Is that the message you got? We about to go live. Are you ready to rock? So take a shot. Oh, so take a shot. Oh, yeah. I'm a street breaker. I'm a heartbreaker. This is my dawn. I'm a Ramon Razor. Rick Flair, Nature Boy, about to seek and destroy. It's an SOW. Let me hear you make noise. Take a shot, boy. Is that the message you got? We about to go live. Are you ready to rock? So take a shot.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special live After Mania edition of A Shot of Wrestling. I'm your host at Michael J. Putty, and my co-host Mark Schwann cannot be here tonight. So please welcome.
I'm right here.
No, please welcome his younger brother, Maxwell. Max, how you feeling today? Welcome. Thanks for filling in for Mark's shoes. Next for my opening, asshole.
Well, if you were telling me beforehand that you were going to have a whole thing lined up, maybe I
never like to do that.
I
like to surprise you.
We are live, though. We are live.
So we are live. So let's start the show. Mark Schwann, look what I got in my hand. Steve Austin's
Broken did it.
American Lager. A coworker of mine found it in a store. She texted me, "Are you a beer drinker?" I'm like, "No, not really." It's like, "Oh man, because I found Stone Cold's beer." I'm like, "Please get it for me." So, for years now, Mark, I've had this frosted glass in my freezer. But I don't drink beer anymore. So now it's time to use it for the first time.
Crack that bad.
So let's start the show like we should properly do it.
Oh, hell yeah.
Pouring it in my glass. I think my glass is kind of warmed over now because we had some technical difficulties. But
we're over it now.
This is the same beer you had a couple weeks ago, right, on the show? The American Lager one?
It was. I actually really enjoyed it. I'm not a big IPA guy, so that's why I used the word actually in there.
I'm not a big beer guy in general, so I'm hoping to see how this goes.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers, brah.
Happy WrestleMania.
Happy WrestleMania.
The hangover, if you will.
That was
drinking
all foam
on a Tuesday.
That was all foam. I'll let you know in a couple minutes.
What do you think? Everybody says?
I said it was all foam. I didn't taste any beer. It was just the foam. So I'll need the foam.
Okay.
Die down
so we need another sip from him later on. I don't know why you poured it the way you did, but
you got to pour it tilted.
Anywho,
you tilted.
Yeah, but you didn't seem like you tilted all. Anyway,
no one cares.
Anyway,
no one cares. This was WrestleMania, the first real full-fledged WrestleMania in 3 years. Obviously, 36 was closed. 37 wasn't really WrestleMania, Mark. Didn't have the week-long events. There was no access to Hall of Fame. The town didn't embrace it. It was a limited capacity. There wasn't the Hall of Fame. It was just didn't feel like.
And then if you remember, the Raw After Mania went back to the Thunderdome.
Yeah. So now this one, full-fledged, full-on WrestleMania, and watching people file in, Mark. Kind of miss being there. So
yeah,
this is the streak officially for me in my mind. The streak is officially over. I didn't count the last 2 years, and now it's over. It sucked because the week you see people. I'm heading to Dallas. Can't wait to go to Dallas. Just landed in Dallas, and people posting pictures of all the banners and signs, all the stuff going on. And when you land in a WrestleMania city, that's one of the first things you see in the airports: the signs, all the propaganda. And
it really is such a big event. It really is like on par with the Super Bowl and the Olympics, man. It's insane.
Yeah, people compare it to that, but the last 10 years, it's been that people have been cities bid on WrestleMania. They have to go through the whole spiel of they can do this, and that. So just seeing it there, it's like, oh, I remember those days of the electricity in the city and the atmosphere of the crowd, making friends everywhere you go. So, Mark Schwann, I'm letting you know ahead of time, 39. There's plans to go. Shot of Wrestling's
going to LA.
Shot of Wrestling's planning to go to Hollywood. So Hollywood, I think you should go to Hollywood.
Oh my Lord.
You have 12 months.
Oh my Lord. I have 12 months to get my life in order with my new baby coming.
I feel like The Rock announcing ahead of time, Rock John Cena a year ahead of time. So just letting you know, 12 months from now. Okay. Me and Greenman expect you to join us in LA, Hollywood.
Oh my lord, I'm very tempted to say yes. I feel like I can't give a definite answer right now because I don't know what my life is going to be in the next few weeks.
Yeah, weeks will be fine, but 12 months from now, it'll be fine.
We'll see.
The baby will be 11
We'll see.
months
I hope
old.
it is.
It'll be fine.
Well, maybe a year old. Oh no, yeah,
The phone's gone.
11 months.
The phone's
So
gone, brother. Let's try this now. Cheers.
All right, do it up. Let's see. And survey says,
Yeah, it's good. Tastes like beer. Okay. Tastes like beer.
so lackluster.
What?
Want.
But it tastes like beer.
What?
I don't know what I was expecting. It tastes like a fucking beer.
It's a little heavy though.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like I was watching Stone Cold. He pounded like what? Definitely like a 12 pack in that Kevin Owens match.
Yeah, but you notice he doesn't really drink all of it. He like spits most of it out.
Yeah, but he's still drinking a lot of it.
Eh.
Like, dude, that shit is heavy, bro. Like, I'd be done.
That's why if I did it after the match.
Dude, I have to say, speaking of WrestleMania and beer drinking, my favorite shot of the night, my new favorite GIF is probably going to be of Pat McAfee after selling the stunner on the floor, just drinking the beer, selling.
That was fucking genius.
Love it.
Nobody's ever done that before. I'm surprised nobody has. But leave it to Pat McAfee, man. Leave it to Pat McAfee to fucking knock it out of the ballpark.
All right, let's talk here about Pat McAfee, if you will. Let's kick the show off here.
Okay.
My opinion.
Oh, so we're going out of order. Hold on, let me get to my Pat McAfee notes.
My opinion, Pat McAfee is a stud. I feel like he had probably the biggest and longest ovation of night all throughout, man. Did you listen to his podcast afterwards on Monday?
Oh, no. I totally forgot about that. That's a good one.
So he was saying like he didn't know about the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders being part of his entrance at all.
Oh, really?
He also didn't know, apparently, about the whole Vince McMahon thing afterwards, and he definitely didn't know Stone Cold was going to stun him.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you believe that? I don't see they would go on the biggest stage of the night, one of the biggest main event matches, and wing it like that, improvise with Pat McAfee. He's not a trained professional wrestler.
He said, looking at hindsight, like they gave me a lot of trust to do this. To just do this on the fly.
I don't think of it that angle. That's an interesting point.
And he was just like, man, like, all right, cool. They probably shouldn't trust me with this because that was only my third match.
Yeah.
He said, but that's awesome that they did.
That was awesome. Then, yeah, I'm thinking from that angle. I guess glass half full for him. Yeah, it's true. Well done, man. I mean, we called it match of the night. I don't know if it was match of the night, but it was definitely up there.
His performance was just astronomical, man. He's just incredibly over. He's just got that. He's got that it factor, man. Mm-hmm. And I have to also say, Michael Cole's commentary for that match is probably the best commentary he's ever done in his life.
Yeah, man. There's something about Pat McAfee that's invigorated Michael Cole.
Absolutely. I think he legit, when he said like my best friend, he used that word. I think he legit means it at this point. Like he's like, that's his boy right there.
It was well done. I was kind of hoping Pat McAfee would get some offense in. I wanted him to show more what he could do.
He showed a lot what he could do.
Not compared to his NXT matches.
All right. But I mean, for like a mainstream crowd, like for the first time seeing him like that, he definitely showed a lot of his athleticism. Like what he did at Kurt Angle spot off the top rope was pretty freaking athletic.
It's fucking amazing, man. Pat killed it. We knew he would. And I'm glad he delivered. What did you think about the whole Vince McMahon thing afterwards? That was weird.
It was weird. It definitely was weird. It's like, why is this happening?
Yeah, what's the story there? What are we trying to get out of this thing? What's the story? What's the point of this?
Right. I don't know, but here's the thing. What I'm thinking, like putting all that aside, that's huge for both Pat McAfee and Austin Theory. Oh, yeah. Think about Austin Theory just a few years ago, like being in BCW with him, and then to now having a kick-ass match at WrestleMania, right?
Yeah.
With Pat McAfee, who's got a huge following.
Huge.
And then on top of that, Vince McMahon there with him and Stone Cold giving him a stunner.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's and Vince McMahon announcing him as a future Universal Champion. Let's talk about that.
Okay, break it down.
Dude, last time Vince McMahon did something like that was Drew McIntyre.
Yep. The chosen one.
The chosen one, right? And granted, Drew McIntyre, he had a little bit of a wonky journey to get to where he is right now, right? It wasn't necessarily a linear path for him.
No.
But, but look at him today. I mean, he's one of the guys, WWE, to part of the main events. You know, he's a world champion in WWE. You know, Austin Theory, for him to have that clout, if you will, from Vince McMahon at such a young age. Was he only 23?
Something like that. He's very early 20s.
Very early 20s. I mean, the sky is the limit for him, man.
And he put on a good show, too. He doesn't point. So Austin Theory, Pat McAfee, great match. A lot of people are making a big deal about the Vince McMahon stunner. He's a 76-year-old man, right?
Exactly. He's a 76-year-old man. Well, what are we talking about?
It was a little awkward. It was a little weird. He left it off. Everyone left it off, so I'm going to left it off. Okay, it was funny.
Right. Whatever. Dude, I mean, Stone Cold and Vince McMahon, like, out of all the stunners Stone Cold has ever given in his life, Vince McMahon has always been amongst the worst.
He was pretty good in the beginning. Like, the first time he sold it pretty damn well, shaking, convulsing.
He's 76 years old, bro. Come on. Pat McAfee, on the other hand, going back to him, sold that stunner very well, especially for a man who had no idea that was going to happen.
And then, if that is actually true, first of all, props. And then for him to take up the beer and just drink it as he's convulsing on the floor, that's great improv. That's fucking great.
Fantastic. Dude, what happens next now for Pat McAfee? Like, you know, with a performance like that, and like the crowd, again, like, you know, WWE, they tend to listen to the crowd. Like, dude, that crowd was electric for him. And then you go on social media, like, he's trending all over the place because of this. Like, he can't be one and done here.
Well, Steve in our live Podbean chat room asked, what's next for Pat McAfee? So, good question. Like, what is next for him? I don't see him going to a match again right away. Is he going to come back? Is this thing with Austin Theory done? Do they continue this to Backlash, WrestleMania Backlash, or is he going to go back to being a commentator and come back out maybe around SummerSlam?
It seems like him and Theory are done. It seems like it, especially after Austin Theory on Raw. You know, he gave Finn Balor the L. He pinned him, right? So one could imagine that's going to lead to a United States Championship opportunity for him at WrestleMania Backlash, probably. Mm-hmm. And rightfully so. Pat McAfee, I'm very curious to see what happens to SmackDown now, to see, you know, does he just go right back to commentary like nothing happened, or does something else occur from here? You know, I personally would love to see down the road at some point this year, Pat McAfee versus Corey Graves.
You mentioned that a couple
Corey
times.
Graves cleared.
You mentioned that a couple
I want to see it.
When would you want to see that? Was it SummerSlam or Survivor Series? Because Survivor Series might make sense because it's Raw versus SmackDown.
Hey, you know what? That's a very good point. Survivor Series. Let's go. Plenty of time.
Plenty of time to build something up because there's no real, like you said, there's some social media stuff going on, but there's no real reason for them to have a match just yet.
Right.
But Survivor Series makes more sense. Raw versus SmackDown. It makes
and I think it also all depends on what Pat McAfee wants to do. I mean, this guy is worth $120 million. Does he really want to go taking bumps every week?
No, I've never been in a wrestling match. I've had late nights, but I never had the physical exhaustion of being in a wrestling match, especially what he did. But did you see the video of him on the plane home?
I did not, actually.
His wife posted a video.
He was hungover.
What?
He was hungover as fuck, apparently.
Okay, good. That's what I'm getting to, because his wife posted a video of him like on the plane as they're taking off, and you could see, like, is he really exhausted or is he fucking drunk as off? And apparently, yes, he was drunk. You could tell. Good for him. He definitely deserves to celebrate. What a fucking weekend he had. He did a great job commentating his first Mania, and then his 2 matches. Great.
So I listened to his podcast pretty regularly. He starts off the show saying, like, guys, I had a late flight coming in. It was a flight from hell. He goes, dude, I am hungover as fuck right now.
Wow, I bet.
He said he drank probably 20 beers plus, like the night before at WrestleMania.
What time does this podcast start?
12 Eastern time, but
11,
but Monday it started at 1.
Okay, because now that you mentioned that, I didn't even think of it, but the background of through the window, you can see through the window of the plane, it was still the sun was out. It was like either the sun was setting or the sun was coming up. Obviously, the sun wasn't setting, so I guess the sun was coming up. I guess he partied all night long. Good for him. Live it up, baby. Live it up.
Good for him, indeed, man. But he's talked about wrestling being his dream, that he felt like he was meant to be in that ring. So now he's got the bug, man. Especially like being at WrestleMania.
Yep,
he definitely showed himself. I'm very curious. I'm going to pay attention to SmackDown and see what happens next. We've been spending a lot of time talking about Pat McAfee and Austin Theory. Talk about them all day. Lots to unpack here, though.
Let's start with night one. What were your takeaways from night one? Do you have a favorite match? Because to me, night one was the better wrestling match. Wrestling night.
Yeah. Night one, I was about to say, night one was definitely better than night two, for sure. Not to say nothing good happened in night two, but night one.
Night two was more entertaining.
Oh, my Lord.
So I think someone put that.
Dude.
It's night one was wrestling, night two was entertainment. I think that was an interesting way of breaking it down.
I think that was a very good way of breaking it down. And I would have to agree with that. Even though the main event was Stone Cold versus Kevin Owens, that wasn't necessarily like a wrestling match. That was more of an entertainment factor. Yeah, but it was still awesome to see.
A little stuff behind it, though. Jesus.
But I have to say, it's close, man. We put the poll up on Shot Wrestling here, which night was best, and it was a tie, both at 45%. Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair. I'm torn between the two as well.
Which match was best, not which night. Which match was best? I think that's what the poll was. Which match was best, not which night was best, right?
Yeah, which match was best? So
definitely the top two.
Yeah, it's like 1A, 1B.
Yeah,
pick one.
You can't go wrong picking either one of them.
What about for you, man? Which was good for you?
For night one, definitely those two. I really enjoyed Becky and Bianca. Definitely time for a change. I feel it was the right time for her to be champion, and the way she won it was well done. It was good match, good storytelling, and I'm excited to see what her title right now holds for Bianca Belair, and how does Becky Lynch come back from this? I think it was. You
think go for a rematch right away?
I think you have to, right? Although they don't do that anymore. There's no more guaranteed rematches, but we'll see what happens. And then you have Cody Rhodes against Seth freaking Rollins. Even though Mark Schwann was going on and on, he was sure it was the Undertaker. Should have taken that bet.
I was very sure about that, man. I actually I was going all in at it because I talked about our last episode, how I think it might be Taker.
Yeah,
and there was starting to be some signs, especially going to Undertaker's Hall of Fame speech. The way he ended, "Never say never." I'm like, okay, well, here we go, all in. It's definitely gonna be Taker. When the lights went out, even on Seth Rollins, I was thinking, here we go. Where's the gong?
Yep.
Let's hear it. I was pleasantly surprised. I really thought like they were going to try to do some sort of swerve on us.
They did. They did swerve you.
Yeah,
you weren't thinking it was Cody. They took the whole pressure off everyone thinking it's Cody. So I think they did swerve us here. Good job to them.
Yeah, good job to them. Even like Vince McMahon the night before the Hall of Fame, even name dropped Bray Wyatt. So there were some rumblings, and people knew that Bray Wyatt was in Dallas. Could it be Bray Wyatt even?
Again, my answer to that was everybody was in Dallas.
Yeah,
but it was just
I said the same thing to someone. I said everyone's in Dallas.
What a moment that was, man. To hear him come up, and again, we talked about it a couple weeks ago. How do you bring in Cody Rhodes? You have to make it the American Nightmare. The guy we saw in AEW has to be in WWE. And they did it to the look, the name, the music. One thing I did notice, the little subtle things, was Mike Rome introducing him like Justin Roberts. The way he's just said, the American Nightmare. I can't do it as good as they do. But he did it exactly how Justin Roberts did it. Like, that's how you do it. What an amazing I don't know if you can't really call it a debut, I guess, but what a great return. Cody Rhodes. Jesus. Well done in that match afterwards.
Hell of an ovation. Dude, it was a fantastic match. And that was the one match I was really at the edge of my seat for, I have to say, because like I felt like a kid again as far as like how I was rooting for Cody Rhodes, because it's like, please don't do him dirty. Please don't do him dirty. Like, he needs this win here tonight. Yeah. I feel like a strong showing isn't good enough. Like, especially like, this is the first AEW person you're bringing over to WrestleMania, to WWE, that you're stealing away from AEW. You really got to put the spotlight on them, and they did, man. I thought it was awesome. It was good to see. It's good to see that he had the gimmick, the music, all of it, man. The only thing I wish that happened was I wish Brandy Rhodes was there.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I'm nitpicking there.
Cody Rhodes had to win this match. There was no way he was going to lose this match, even if it was a close match. A loss here would hurt him. It would hurt the whole relationship with AEW guys coming over. So Cody Rhodes winning here was obviously the right call. But it took, 4 crossroads to put away Seth Rollins?
And as well it should, man. Like,
so, I don't think this loss hurts him at all either.
The last time I was in the edge of the seat for a match like this for WrestleMania was Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker, WrestleMania 25. Mm-hmm. I'm a big Shawn Michaels fan. I think I had money in that match too. Mm-hmm. But like, it was a lot of false finishes. I wasn't too sure like how this was going to go. And same with Cody and Seth Rollins. Like, I had no idea at one point how this was going to go. It seemed a lot of times that Seth Rollins might win this match.
Yeah, which is good because that's like I think I mentioned last week. But there's no way Seth Rollins can win this. But they made you believe he could. Great match. If for some reason if you're listening to this and didn't watch it, go back and watch it. Probably one of the best matches in WrestleMania over both nights. Welcome back, Cody Rhodes. Welcome home, as Seth Rollins said on Monday night. Welcome home.
That was interesting. What did you think of the promo from Cody Rhodes?
I thought it was good. I thought it would make sense. It definitely led to a potential rematch at the next premier live event. WrestleMania Backlash. I can never get the name right. WrestleMania Backlash. I'm excited. It was just the passion he had. It was really an awesome promo. Great storytelling. Especially that father in that picture. I never saw that picture before.
Oh,
I didn't know anything about that story. I think I would, but I didn't. Of him beating Hulk Hogan, but a count out. I'm like, that was now adds more motivation to him going for the title. I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know if it's going to be next couple months, maybe next year, maybe by the summer. But I'm looking forward to Cody Rhodes going for the title now because now I'm invested emotionally because of this story with his father. Well done, great promo.
Right, especially with you. You lost your father, this past year. So like, yeah, I can imagine so, man. Like, yeah, Cody Rhodes definitely knows how to pull at the heartstrings.
Yeah, that's true.
And he did a phenomenal job of doing that. He did a great job at AEW, and this was very much like an AEW promo for him. He definitely wasn't scripted. I was definitely paying attention to that. I was like, is this guy going to be scripted? What's going to happen?
Definitely did not feel scripted at all. It was I hope they keep it that way.
Yeah,
because that was my strike at WWE. Because why would AEW guys want to come to the E, especially like Cody Rhodes or MJF, who are just so great in the mic, and come and get handed a script? These guys you can't script.
Would this open the door then to not script other wrestlers?
Yeah, I think you got. I mean, not everybody. We got it. Like, I don't think you give Damian Priest the carte blanche to go unscripted, but you definitely give the people who deserved it or who earned it, who can deliver scripted promos awesomely, handle the crowd reactions greatly, and then maybe have them earn the right to get unscripted.
Because here's the thing, the biggest main player that they have that does the absolute best unscripted, but they don't script her, is Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
It's like painful of her delivering a script. It's painful. And I know from her UFC days, and we've seen her go off cuff a few times, even in WWE from her first run. Like, she is more efficient and better on the mic when she's herself, when she's unscripted. Tear it up, man.
Totally agree. And I'm surprised they're not giving her the unscripted promos, unless she's not nervous. She's a good speaker too, so I don't know what her deal is, but let her go unscripted, man. Come on.
I think the thing is, like, she's just a natural heel. Like, if she goes unscripted, she's a heel.
That makes sense.
She's a heel, and they want her to be face for whatever reason. I don't know why they want her to be face, but it boggles my mind. So Cody Rhodes, man, going back to him, I have to say, I think all eyes are going to be on the next time WWE's back in Madison Square Garden, and if Cody Rhodes gets a title match over there, because how fitting would that be if he wins to gold at Madison Square Garden?
They don't go back to MSG too often these days, so I'm hoping that will be very fitting. Even if it's a Raw or a pay-per-view. I don't see them doing pay-per-views at MSG anymore, but yeah, that'd be awesome. Great storytelling.
Are they at Barclays?
Or maybe he wins it at a pay-per-view, and the next night is at MSG. He entered Madison Square Garden as champion.
Or are they in Barclay at all this year or no?
I'm assuming they are. I don't know when. I know they're coming up to Nassau Coliseum.
Not for pay-per-view though.
No, not yet. I don't know. I don't think the full calendar has been released yet of arena and dates. But the other match
it's going to be very interesting to watch.
The other marquee match of that night was your girl Charlotte Flair taking on Ronda Rousey. What do you think of that match?
It didn't hit the way I thought it would. It was definitely a fight for sure. The finish, I'm not too surprised about. We talked before about like how I think Charlotte Flair can come out with a win somehow, some way. Mm-hmm. They did it without. Did they do it without making Ronda look weak? I don't know. What do you think about the ending there?
I don't think it made her look weak. I thought those
a boot to the face. That's how Ronda undefeated.
I was kind of surprised about that actually. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't think she looked weak, but you're right. The boot to the face, and I saw her pinned 1, 2, 3. I'm like, what?
Right.
Surprising.
I granted Ronda was distracted with the ref, yada yada, but still, like if it was anyone else, I would not have a problem with it. I think the fact is that Ronda Rousey went undefeated, and to some people would argue she wasn't necessarily even pinned at WrestleMania because she had the shoulder up.
True.
This was definitely a definitive pin here against her. A boot to the face, clean. Like Charlotte's not grabbing the ropes or anything for leverage. I don't know. I really don't know. I think that was a little weak.
I thought it was a solid match. Again, the ending was a little weird. That's boot to the face. I did think something was off, and somebody on Twitter posted, or someone reviewed it. The crowd was dead for the first part of that match. Rightfully so, because how do you come back from Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins and go right into Charlotte Flair, Ronda Rousey? That's what the calm down matches, the bathroom break matches are to quiet the crowd down, calm them down so they can come back again. To have these two matches back to back, I think hurt. Having Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch going on the same night definitely hurt. I think this match would have been a lot better if it was on night 2.
I think the problem too was I agree with actually about the night 2. They should have split that up. But I also think another problem was just the matchup itself. There's a lot of people that don't like Ronda Rousey, and there's also a lot of people that don't like Charlotte Flair. Mm-hmm. It's kind of reminiscent of when Goldberg faced Brock Lesnar for the first time at WrestleMania, when everyone knew that they were both leaving.
Talking about MSG,
you know.
Right? Yeah.
So, like that's kind of like the similar effect. Like you heard boos for Ronda Rousey, who is supposed to be a face in this. People shit on greatness. All that Charlotte Flair is the New England Patriots and the New York Yankees of wrestling. I mean, she's just a winner, and people are going to hate her no matter what. So I think it's a matchup itself. I think it would have been better if it was maybe Ronda versus Becky Lynch, or Ronda versus someone else. This matchup, I don't think was going to elicit the response they wanted.
The main event saw Stone Cold and KO. What do you think of this?
I really did not think it was going to be a match. A. B. I did not think Stone Cold would sell as much stuff as he did, a la a suplex onto the concrete, a la a Stone Cold Stunner.
Very impressed. Stone Cold definitely did a good job. Again, someone who's 57 years old, hasn't wrestled a match in 19 years. I thought it was pretty good. Pretty interesting. It definitely exceeded my expectations. I enjoyed it.
Who definitely had a buzz on in the middle of that match. So maybe that's what he needed to drink the beers as like a painkiller.
Maybe. I mean, I need to have a couple drinks before I do commentary, take the edge off. Maybe that's what he needed. Got out of his head.
To take their pain away.
The one, I guess.
Not only that, not only did he take a suplex, like he gave multiple suplex on the stage too.
It was pretty good. I was like, holy shit, what's going on? This is a full actually match.
Right.
I expected him to come out, like do the greatest hits and maybe have a couple, maybe take a bump or two, but not this. Well done.
Well, and I have to say, except for maybe a minor couple of things, I mean, the dude's 57 years old, like you said, been away for 19 years. Stone Cold looked fantastic.
He did. And that's what they were saying. The reports were he was training to get in great. I mean, he's always in good shape anyway. But he was actually training hard for this, getting ring in shape. So he took this very seriously, and it showed. Well done.
And I think we all have to give it up for Kevin Owens too, for really like selling it all.
Of course,
and
that's no surprise. Kevin Owens is Kevin Owens, but he worked well.
for taking care of Stone Cold as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, what better hands? I guess they trusted him a lot. Talking about Pat McAfee trust to put Stone Cold against Kevin Owens, they had a lot of trust into him too, and he delivered
in the main event, no less, of night one.
Before we move on to night two, I know you don't want to hear this, but props to Happy Corbin hanging in there with Drew McIntyre. I thought it was going to be a squash match. He held his own, and the one takeaway, unfortunately, I'm looking forward to. Not looking forward to. I'm curious to see what the future holds for Cheesecake Nakamura because Rick Boogs went out with an injury. I think he was.
Oh, dude,
he added so much to Nakamura's not only character but his entrance, his whole persona. Now that he's going to be gone for maybe the year, I'm curious.
Most likely,
what does Nakamura do going on? It just added so much, especially with Pat McAfee's reaction.
Right. Or I just thought of something. What if Pat McAfee teams with Shinsuke Nakamura?
I don't see that happening, but I won't be surprised either. That was a great fill-in for him. Yeah,
that would be a fantastic fill-in.
That makes sense. So overall, night one I thought was really entertaining. I thought it was an excellent show. Before we move on to night two, though, WrestleMania Saturday was a runtime of 4 hours and 4 minutes. I think WrestleMania Sunday had an hour, almost under 3 hours. There's no reason for 2 nights to go into the 4-hour territory. There's no reason for the main event to be going on around 11:30 if you have 2 fucking nights. That's the reason you did 2 nights. The main event in 35 at MetLife Stadium went on, 12:30? So now the reason was you cut it down or break it up to 2 nights. They broke it up to 2 nights. There's no reason for 11:30. I'm seeing Roman Reigns to come out on my screen.
What went over?
I don't know.
Something because they had to cut a match.
Plus, you see that fucking stupid Sheamus Snickers commercial every 5 minutes.
Oh my god,
I hate that commercial.
Over and over. Yeah, same.
Anyway, night two. Great way to start out with Triple H coming out, putting the boots in the ring. Smart choice to have him say goodbye, quote unquote, say goodbye, and welcome us to WrestleMania.
Very fitting.
Very fitting. Well done. See his family there at ringside. Very fitting. Good job.
Yeah.
What was your takeaways from night
Definitely
two?
Hall of Famer next year. Well, I mean, it goes without saying about McAfee and Austin Theory. I think stole the show for night two. Mm-hmm. They did a fantastic job. And I think that, honestly, man, that was it for me. That was the biggest takeaway.
Nothing else hit you. I really, really, really enjoyed, surprisingly, because I said last couple months they've been rebuilding themselves, but the kickoff, the Raw Tag Team Triple Threat, I thought it was a great way to start that night. It was a good match, a lot of energy, a lot of good spots. It was a great way to start that night, and expected ending with those great RKO moments. Great way to start that night off. It started really hot. The crowd was into it, beginning to end. I thought it was a great way to start the night.
It was appropriate to start off the night, for sure. Agreed with that. Randy Orton and Matt Riddle both delivered some really cool RKOs there. Good for them. They're having a good time. They told a story. I mean, yeah, it was fine. I had nothing wrong with it. There's nothing also that I absolutely loved about it either. You know, it was a good match.
I really enjoyed it. Then we had, surprisingly, and we did a poll. Your boy Carson did a WrestleMania poll, which definitely entertained me both nights.
Yeah, because he won.
I didn't hear that. You think you broke up? What'd you say? You broke up. Can you repeat that?
Because he won.
So one of the questions was shortest match of the night. One of the supplement categories was shortest match of the night. And I picked Sami Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville, which ended up being the second longest match of the night. Surprisingly, I'm not a
It was
Jackass.
entertaining.
I'm not a Jackass guy. I haven't seen any movies. I haven't seen any TV shows. I've seen a couple of clips here and there online. But yeah, it was very entertaining. It was well paced, well put together. Those spots, very interesting, very entertaining. There was no down moment in that match, even though it was 14 something minutes long. Good job, man. And props to Sami Zayn, man. Good job.
No, absolutely, man. Like Sami Zayn and John Knoxville, they told like a long lasting story here. It lasted for a few months. It all culminated to this WrestleMania. This was a match exactly what you would expect here. It was absolutely ridiculous. It was entertaining, but it goes back to what you were saying before about night 2. It's definitely more entertaining than night 1. 2 different nights, man. One was a wrestling crowd, one was an entertainment crowd.
Edge.
Speaking of celebrities, so the one guy I have to give credit to. I think this was night 1 actually. I hate his guts.
I know what you're gonna say.
Logan Paul.
Very impressive.
Very impressive. I have to say, he looked like he belonged.
They took the words out of my mouth. Yeah.
His presence, his demeanor. Like there was that one shot where he pulled a move and he was just standing over the one of the Mysterios. And the way he just looked in the camera with a smug smile, he just want to knock his face off. It was just a classic heel look, man. The dude just oozed the charisma. I can't believe I'm talking positively about Logan Paul right now. I want to punch myself in the face for it. Yep. But I have to say, man, like it was so fitting for him.
Yeah, it was well done. He is a natural heel. His whole family is.
Oh, totally.
His brother was on the pre-show being a heel, doing heelish stuff.
AKA being themselves.
Yeah, like this is where it blurs the line. Are they being heels or are they being their natural douchebag asshole selves? There was a story I started to read before we came on live here, before I ran some technical issues. There's an interesting caveat into Logan Paul's contract for WrestleMania, what I heard. I didn't get a chance to read the whole thing. But apparently, he wanted to end off as a face. Hence why Miz turned on him.
Really?
I think you're putting Miz and Logan Paul together. It's going to be hard for you to sell Logan Paul as a face, even though Miz did turn on him. I just don't see the crowd
fans
cheering
cheer
him.
for the Miz.
Yeah, exactly. So I think this is going to backfire on them in a big way. But I'm curious.
I cheer for the Miz.
I always cheer for the Miz, so hard to argue that point.
Logan Paul, stick to what you're good at, man. No one's going to cheer you, bro.
But he's good at this. Yeah.
No one's going to cheer you.
I hope we see him again. He did a very good job, very impressive. I compared him last week. How's he going to compare to Bad Bunny? And I think he did hold his own. And I think we'll definitely see him again. I don't know when, but we haven't seen the last of Logan Paul. Or maybe his brother. Maybe his brother joins him soon too. Who knows?
Bad Bunny definitely set the bar for these celebrities, man. You had Logan Paul performing lights out. You have Pat McAfee stealing the show. And John Knoxville didn't do too bad himself.
He held his own.
For what it was.
For what it was, he held his own. For the backup he had too, he held his own. So all the celebrities here did a good job.
Totally. Absolutely.
The one other big marquee match of the night was Edge versus AJ Styles. I didn't think it was as great as I thought it was going to be. Maybe my expectations were too high.
It was disappointing. It was disappointing for me.
I wouldn't go that far.
Because
he didn't deliver.
Here's the thing.
I thought
it kind of reminds me of like when AJ Styles was fighting Shinsuke Nakamura at WrestleMania. It was so hyped up, and not to say it was a bad match, because it wasn't a bad match, but people were touting it going to be like, oh, this could be the greatest match ever, and it wasn't. It fell short of that. It was in that standards, it was disappointing. And I feel like this was the same exact thing. I feel like in a way, AJ Styles and Randy Orton was kind of similar. It didn't necessarily live up to that hype. It's going to be like one of the greatest matchups. I know there were some technical difficulties there at the arena. I was there for that. I thought it was fine, but it necessarily didn't like hit on the socials or amongst the wrestling community as it should have. To me, that's three marquee matches for AJ Styles at WrestleMania that was supposed to be the greatest show. and didn't live up to expectations. So I don't know what that says about AJ Styles, and I'm an AJ Styles fan.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with the match. I thought the match was good. But
I thought it was fine. Again, all matches I just talked about were fine.
Didn't live up to the expectation I thought it was going to be match of the night.
Right. All these matches I mentioned were supposed to be like match of the year quality. And it was far from that. It was fine. Don't get me wrong. It was fine. But it just, in that standards of what it was expected to be, it's disappointing.
Going into Mania, we heard the news that Edge is going to lead his own faction. And we see Damian Priest emerge. How do you think the pairing of Edge and Damian Priest are going to work out?
I'm curious to see how this goes. You know, I feel like this is my problem with Edge's character switch. It's reminiscent of like different characters we've seen before in WWE. Like Seth Rollins, not too long ago, was a similar character. It seems like Edge is like kind of acting like a cult leader, if you will. And we just saw Seth Rollins do that not too long ago. Interesting. And I feel like we've seen someone else do that. Brody Lee, actually, in AEW, did something similar. You know, so like, I wish they would break from the mold a bit. And if you know, not for nothing, if you're going to put Edge to do something, he's going to do a good job at it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying he's doing a bad job at this. I just feel like I've seen this before, and I would like to see something different.
Yeah, I'm curious how that plays out. They talked about adding people. Rhea Ripley, Tommaso Ciampa are the two names that keep getting floated around. So I'm curious how this eventually all comes together. But overall, it was, again, lackluster. But in your main event, we had Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. Another match I felt like was good, but okay.
Listen, I think we all knew that these men are not going to necessarily deliver a match of the year. You know, it wasn't going to be this long barn burner where you're going to see like, you know, all these crazy moves. It was going to be a fight.
Yeah.
It was going to be. I mean, what was Carson's over under for this? For time limit, it was 10 minutes, right? 10 and a half minutes. And what, 12?
Yeah, I don't remember offhand, but yeah.
Yeah.
But
so I mean, just to say
the fact that Brock Lesnar got hurt and Roman Reigns got his shoulder separated, they are dislocated somehow, and both men continued the match for another 10 minutes.
Brock Lesnar was legit hurt, right?
Both of them are, yeah.
Yeah, I knew Roman Reigns was. So there was something definitely up with Brock Lesnar. Like,
there's no official
he's not that good of a seller.
There's no official reports, but there are talks about he hurt his ribs somehow.
Yeah,
he flew home right away.
It seemed like all the both those injuries happened in the same spot. It seemed like it was like the guardrail.
I think the shoulder was the Kimura lock. I think they were talking about, but I didn't really have to go back and rewatch that. But
I heard someone say about the guardrail for that.
I wouldn't be surprised either.
Yeah, because the Kimura lock, then you're blaming Brock Lesnar for that.
But again, both men are injured, legit injuries, serious injuries. Maybe that's why to me the ending felt a bit sudden. I'm like, wait, that's it. I was surprised. I'm like, wow, that's it.
It did feel very sudden. It felt again like kind of like with Brock Lesnar and Undertaker, like something felt off with that. And Undertaker obviously was hurt during that match too, as we come to find out. Roman Reigns, I wasn't too sure what's up. I was like, is he really selling this or is he legit hurt? And then you see the photos of his shoulder.
Yeah.
Something was up there. And you see him Monday Night Raw. Like he was like the way he was like
wincing.
He's really trying to power through, like holding up both belts, but he was like wincing hardcore.
Yeah, or he's a great seller.
Right.
That was WrestleMania 38 in a nutshell. That was a big success. Great crowd. A lot of good moments, a lot of good memories. I really thought WrestleMania 38 was a huge hit.
Yeah. So what would you, grade-wise, would you give it?
Probably A-. I
was going to say the same exact thing, A-. Because
it was great.
Sure.
Yeah, there's great matches that kind of felt a little flat, so that's what I didn't give it an A+. But definitely an A. A-. Everyone did a good job. It was really well done. But now,
even the undercard, they all did a great job. The fatal 4-way with the women too, solid job all around.
Oh, speaking of which, John in our chat, again live on Podbean, thanks for joining us, wants to let us to know what are our thoughts on this being Sasha Banks' first WrestleMania win.
Yeah, you know
Surprising.
what's funny? Like I actually thought it was going to be Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. I thought they had all the momentum going into this. I kind of thought Carmella and Zelina would break up that night WrestleMania and not the night after.
Mm-hmm.
Sasha Banks, Naomi winning it. I mean,
I thought it was my pick. I think because they were the first team together. It was supposed to be these four women against each other. And then he had Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. And then he had Natalya and Shayna Baszler get added impromptu.
right.
But I thought this was the match for them to win. Good moment to change hands. I thought Sasha Banks, and obviously because I picked them in our pool. But when I heard this, I think Corey Graves mentioned it on Raw. I had to go back and check. I'm like, I didn't think that was real. But yeah, her first actual win at WrestleMania. Congratulations to her.
It's a tag match.
Yeah, long overdue.
That's way overdue. I have to say,
She only had one singles match. Only one singles match at WrestleMania. That was last year. Others have been multi-women matches.
True. But both women needed this, I think. Naomi and Sasha Banks. You know, Naomi, like, fans been clamoring for her. She's got a huge following. To, like, you know, have a big win to win the championship again. Sasha Banks obviously hasn't won a WrestleMania at all.
Yeah.
Huge following as well, especially after Mandalorian grew even more. You know, so I think both women needed this. It does make sense with them as a team because of their days together as stable when Sasha Banks first came to the main roster. And then I have to say, cool finisher, too, for both women.
That was impressive, yeah.
Yeah, I dug that a lot. So let's see what happens next. I don't necessarily see them holding the belts on for long. If they are going to make these belts relevant, though, you know, Naomi and Sasha Banks, they are good at what they do. Again, they both have a large following. They know character work. They're both great in the ring. If they're going to make these belts relevant, this is the team to do it.
Yeah, again, the crowd behind Naomi, they've been wanting her to give Naomi a chance. They gave her that chance with the storyline with, oh my God, what's her name?
Sonya Deville.
Thank you. Keep thinking of her real name. Sonya Deville, and they get the crowd behind her, give her empathy. And now teaming her randomly with Sasha Banks, who had both women had nothing to do, makes sense. Now they're champions. See what they can do. Again, it was time. I just don't
think it's going to last. I just don't think it's going to last long, though, because, you know, I'm calling it now. Sasha Banks is going to turn Naomi at one point, and they're going to feud against each other probably at SummerSlam.
I think that was what Corey Graves' point on commentary in Raw. You can't trust Sasha Banks. Right. So
exactly. Boom. There you go.
Quickly before we move on, let's talk about something that I went to Green Man's house for WrestleMania Sunday. A couple people were there. And they had some comments about WrestleMania Saturday. Stephanie McMahon came out and introduced Gable Steveson. And then he was ringside for the opening match. And he got involved some physicality with Chad Gable. That they don't know why. It was Abel and a couple of other people who were there. They feel like they're forcing this guy down our throats. Not many people have seen him wrestle. I've seen him wrestle twice in the Olympics. That was it. I don't know his NCAA career. But they are pushing this guy, no pun intended, to the moon. Is this the right move here? Or are they putting too much pressure on this young man's shoulders?
I think they're putting way too much pressure on his shoulders. And also,
just 2 nights.
I think it was
yeah. I can see what they're saying.
I was seeing some stuff on Twitter. There's some shadiness with him. He's got like a little bit of a checkered history as well.
Of course.
I don't want to speak too much in details about this because of the fact that I haven't done all my due diligence as far as speaking more at length about it. But hey, it's called Google, called Twitter. You guys can look up yourself to see exactly what I'm talking about because I'm sure I will. We'll talk more about it at a later point. But the fact that someone have a checkered past like this, and you know, you kind of forcing him in this spot. The dude is just signed. You know, it's going to take some time for him to learn the ropes. It's kind of like Tyson Fury when they brought him along. You know, it was a big name. People were expecting a lot from him, and nothing happened, right?
Well, Tyson Fury, the boxer, was just a special appearance. This guy's been
sorry, I'm confusing.
He got drafted to Raw in October, November? He was a draft pick on TV, not a supplemental draft pick. He was a draft pick on TV while he was still in NCAA.
Sorry, there was some UFC guys as well. Cain Velasquez.
Yeah. That was one and done, yeah.
Cain Velasquez. that was one and done. I mean, they put so much pressure on these guys because the fact that they were successful in other sport and think they could go right away in and do this. Gable Stevenson, I feel like they're acting like he's going to be the next Kurt Angle.
Yep.
Stop.
It's putting too much pressure.
He's
on this guy.
not.
He's only 21 years old. He'll be 22 in May. It's just like and obviously he's going to be the building blocks of the future. He has it. There's something about him. He's special. He's a very special man. And he might be the future. He might be the next Kurt Angle. But he might not be as well. So I feel like to have Stephanie McMahon introduce him on stage night 1 and then have him ringside night 2, too much Gable Stevenson. Unless he's coming back on Raw the next night, which he wasn't. I just feel like this is. I see what Green Man and his friends are saying. Too much.
I'm afraid they're setting him up to fail.
Exactly. That's what their point was. They're pushing him to the moon. He's going to come out, have a mediocre match, and people are going to shit on him, turn him right away. Boom. Take care, come
right.
Here. See you in AEW
exactly.
in a couple months.
Or in the Indies or whatever.
Well, that was WrestleMania 38 in Dallas.
What did you think of? I'm sorry, what did you think of Raw After Mania? Do you think it went back to living up to the hype, or was it kind of like similar to like the last 2 years?
Before I answer your question, do you have anything else? I'm going to move on to Raw now. Do you have anything for WrestleMania before we move
on? No, I think we covered everything possible for WrestleMania.
So I thought Raw was good. The reason we didn't do it on Monday so we could watch Raw After Mania. That's why we're doing it on a Tuesday live. I thought Raw was good. It wasn't as good as past After Manias have been. No real big surprises. The crowd wasn't as electric. The only time the crowd really only made noise was during the Edge promo, and they were agreeing with him. They were like, "Yeah, we're stupid. We're losers. That's stupid. Why would you chant that?"
Yeah, that was really weird.
And that was the
right?
only time the crowd made any noise.
They made noise for Cody Rhodes.
Of course, you're going to make noise, but I'm saying usually the crowd's hot beginning to end.
I feel like it was pretty lackluster all throughout. I mean, you had a couple teams break up, whatever. Okay. And then the way it ended, the Roman Reigns, they're pumping up this big announcement from Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns coming out. A lot of people were thinking like he might relinquish the belts because of the injury.
Yeah.
There was nothing.
No, it just felt like the dude promo turned the SmackDown.
The dude might as well just come out and say, "Acknowledge me," and walk out, and they just end Raw.
Because he was still talking at 10:59. And there's no overrun on my DVR. I'm like, are they going to get over? He's going to shut up in the next 30 seconds. He shut up in the next 30 seconds. But it just didn't lead me to have to turn into. I'm going to, but didn't force me to tune into SmackDown and see what he has to say next because he's probably going to say the same shit.
Right, exactly. I feel like if anything, they probably should have opened with Roman Reigns and ended with Cody Rhodes. I feel like they should have flipped it.
I see why they started with
back
Cody.
On it.
Cody was in a dark match, as most of us know by now. So that kind of makes sense. But the whole Roman Reigns thing was, okay, the same promo we're going to hear on Friday on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Now, we talked about it, I think, the last show. Roman Reigns, I thought, was going to win, become undisputed Universal Champion. The report I read was that he's going to be champion on SmackDown, and they're going to introduce a new belt for Raw.
Right.
That's what I read. Talking about it at Green Man's house, and then you hear me say it out loud, and him talking about it. Then what's the point? Then what's the point of taking away one of the belts if you're going to introduce a new belt? I'm hoping this report's wrong. Maybe we see the original plan during the original brand split back in 2001 for old guys to remember was the champion was going to be on both brands until quote unquote Stephanie McMahon signed exclusively Brock Lesnar to the SmackDown storyline wise. So now Roman Reigns has 2 belts here. What's he going to do with 2 belts? Does he fight both belts? Is one belt going to be defended on Raw, one belt defended on SmackDown, lose it to somebody eventually? I don't see the point of having 2 belts if you're going to introduce a new belt. I'm hoping they don't because that makes no sense. Then why give up the Universal belt if you're going to introduce a new one? Makes no sense.
It's all about the merch, though. I mean, what's he going to do? Is he going to lose one? And then there goes kind of like his streak? That kind of hurts Roman Reigns.
Well, he's only been WWE champion for 2 days. Universal champion, they keep that going streak wise. If that doesn't hurt him at all, I don't know. Even that makes sense, but
I feel like they kind of back themselves into the corner here. I feel like they kind of have to unify both belts and make it just like the WWE World Heavyweight Championship and have them defend it both shows.
Yeah, so
unify the belts.
Again, that's what the report was. The report made sense when I read it, but now saying it out loud on Sunday, I'm like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. So I'm hoping the report's wrong. I hope we see Raw. Hope we see Roman Reigns both on Raw and SmackDown because that's the only way it makes sense.
Right. No, totally.
Mentioned at the top of the show, what you think about the return of Elias? I'm sorry, Ezekiel. I feel like this has the potential of being such a great storyline if they do it right.
And again, to introduce this with Kevin Owens,
perfect,
was the perfect person to do it with.
No, you're Elias? No, I'm his younger brother, Ezekiel. Great. There's so much potential here. I'm surprised.
Did you reckon
when he first came out?
Did you recognize him?
I'm like, who the fuck is Ezekiel? I didn't see him from the long shot. When they turned up on his face, I'm like, oh shit, is that fucking Elias?
It didn't dawn on me until Corey Graves said it. I was like, shut the fuck up. That's Elias?
I recognized him when
he looks so different.
So different, yeah. And there was
people thought it was LA Knight.
That would be cool. But yeah, I mean, again, this has a lot of potential to be really interesting, funny storyline. See where this goes. How long is this going? Is he actually Ezekiel? Is it the whole new character, or is something mentally wrong with Elias? I'm curious to see how this plays out.
Did you see his Twitter?
No.
He said,
I saw him post something.
Hey, everyone.
Elias is missing, right?
Yeah, he said, I'm taking over Elias's Twitter account. It's me, Ezekiel.
That's great. I did not. When they announced, I'm like, oh, what the fuck is this? And then I realized this has potential. When I saw Kevin Owens react to it, this could be great.
What did you think of Veer, his debut?
All right, good for him. Good for him. Great opponents to go against. Rey Mysterio and Dominic, give him some sort of credibility. Small guys he can overpower without being some scrub enhancement talent.
I didn't realize the size of this dude.
You don't realize the size of this dude because his partner was Shanky, who was at 7'2" or something like that.
Right.
So him by himself is a dominant presence. He's been posting a lot of pictures of his social medias of him in suits looking sharp in fancy places. So they were thinking maybe a character change for him. But no, it's the same guy we've seen before. Okay. I think Dominic did a good job selling that fucking move.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that was definitely a wicked version of the camel clutch. Probably the most devastating version I've seen. So good shit for Veer. Like I'm actually, I thought it was going to be kind of lackluster his debut because it was just like so overhyped for so long, but it delivered.
Did he get drafted? He got drafted too. So this has been like going on since October, November too, right?
Right. This has been a while, man. And like I have to say, I think what really sold it was the intensity, the way how he came out. And even like each move they did, it was just so intense. Like the yelling and screaming as he put on his finisher on Dominic. It really put him over, I thought.
I thought it was pretty well done. Overall, the Raw After Mania was kind of, again, like I mentioned earlier, a letdown.
It was.
There was no bit like the crowd was dead. But
I feel like it's no longer the must-see Raw anymore. Like, you know,
is that because
throughout the year I'll fast forward stuff and whatnot, but this is like usually the Raw I'll watch completely through live.
Me too. Yeah.
You know, I don't know anymore, man. 3 years have been burned.
Again, the first 2 years, again, I don't count because it was a close set, then the Thunderdome. So this is the first real. We're back. We're back. I thought the crowd would be super hyped. No, they were there, reacting as we should react, and then taking over Edge's segment with a stupid self-derogatory chants.
Right,
okay, whatever.
I will say props to the fans for at WrestleMania and Raw After Mania for not chanting AEW for Cody Rhodes.
No, I thought about that at first, but like, why would they chant AEW in a WWE event? Because this is mostly WWE people, so I'm happy they didn't do that.
You never know with fans. You never know. But respect that they didn't do that.
Yeah, man. So now,
so what happens next, buddy? Who does Roman Reigns face next?
I'm guessing Drew McIntyre, right? He had a hard-fought, dominant win. He is the number one face on the SmackDown roster. He has to be next in line.
Well, it's not just SmackDown anymore. It's SmackDown and Raw, right?
I'm waiting for SmackDown to see what this announcement is. So I'm curious. Coming up, we have tonight. We're bleeding into it right now, but the NXT after Stand and Deliver, very good, very good. And then we're going into SmackDown after Mania to see the fallout. What does Roman Reigns do? Who does any more surprise debuts? Any more returns? So we'll have that for you in the next episode. What are you looking forward to next?
I think I'm looking forward to see exactly what I asked. What is next for Roman Reigns? Who will be his next opponent? And I'm also looking forward to see what happens next with Pat McAfee.
True.
Is he going to go? Is he just going to go back to commentary, take care of Comey hair like nothing happened, or is he going to be more active in the ring? We shall see.
We shall see. Look forward to talking about it next episode, man.
Absolutely, man. And starting next episode, Hollywood's Corner will be back. I have some more interviews on deck. I have Ruthless Lala after winning her BCW Women's Championship. And I also have Alice Starr, the first drag queen wrestler in Canada. The first and only. So,
Canada, eh?
Some interesting Canada, eh? My first time interviewing Canadian. I thought it was pretty cool.
Did he tell you how they spell Canada in Canada?
No, she didn't.
Do you know how Canadians spell Canada?
Is there Canada? There's no difference, right?
Close.
What?
Canada.
You're ridiculous.
It's one of my favorite jokes. Do you know how Canadians Canada? Do you know how Canadians spell Canada backwards?
How?
I would turn around, put my back to you, and do the same exact joke. I can't. It's a visual joke, not an audio joke. I can't do it for you, but
there you go. You just ruined the whole thing.
Still one of my favorite jokes.
We lost listeners right now because of that.
Then let's wrap the show up. Then I got NXT to watch.
All right, so let's wrap it up, guys. Thank you for listening. I am your favorite actor, Mark Schwann. You can find me in all forms of social media at Mark Schwann, or you just go to my website, yourfavoriteactor.com. All my links are on there. So always Shot of Wrestling. That's on there as well. Putty, what about you?
Mark, it's been fun, man. Another WrestleMania in the books. Another good WrestleMania. Had fun watching it. Had fun doing your poll. Thanks for including me in on it. Another WrestleMania in the books, man. Well done. So for Mark Schwann, I've been your host at Mark Putty. Until next week. Putty out.
Hey, baby, I hear the bell ringing, hip tosses and body slams. Oh, my. And maybe you seem a bit confused. Yeah, baby, but I got you pinned. Ha, 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 ha. But I don't know what to do when I see them with that golden case. They're cashing it in. Authority all in my face. What is a man to do? Good night, everybody.